Compilations are nothing new on YouTube, but they still remain some of the most popular videos around, especially when they're stacked with flat earth failure. This is the Flat Earth Fail Compilation 43. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club delivering awesome boxes of top shelf goods from under the radar brands, and it's free to join. They purchase 90% of the products in their boxes from small businesses, many of which are based right in the US, like the Carnival. The American barbecue rub in the Carnival box is made by the Great American Spice Company in Rockford, Michigan. Every month they introduce their members to cool new products, outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing and more, even live oysters. And all this is based on a preference quiz that you fill out. And their box lineup is constantly changing each month. Just look at the incredible range of boxes available. I cannot wait to get involved with this crackle box. The kids love s'mores, so we can take this with us on a long walk and fire it up for a mid-walk snack. Cannot wait. Now, every box has around $70 in retail value contained within, but only costs $45. To get 20% off your first box, click the link in the description and enter the code SIMAN20 or go to bespokepost.com/SIMAN20. Right, back to today's video, which as I stated earlier is the Flat Earth Fail Compilation 43. Cannot believe we've got this far. We begin with a video from a Jake Vegas who is interviewing a flat earther out on the street whilst in activism mode. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so I'm here with Peter. Peter, tell the people exactly why you're here.
I'm here to talk about the fake moon landings.
The fake moon landings.
One picture proves the moon landing's fake.
Zoom in on this. Please explain what's
I
going
will.
on here.
Two guys playing golf. 1, 2. Third astronaut always stayed in the orbiter 60 miles up. So who pushed the button on the camera to take the picture?
Well, I'm pretty sure this is a still from a recording. A recording from a camera where the video was started by one of those two astronauts. So no, one photo does not debunk the moon landing.
It's a Hasselblad 500 EL camera. No timer, no manual, no remote shutter. You have to push the button to take a picture. Who pushed the button on the camera to take that picture? It's called FAKE, fake.
Because you're saying the third man, he was in
The orbiter, 60 miles up.
Yes.
And his arms are not that long.
Good one!
And here's more. See the hills in the two pictures? Same hills. There's the lander, there's the flag. Half an hour later, lander's gone. How are they going to get home without a lander? It's called FAKE, fake.
Well, those are clearly doctored photos. I've seen so many of them.
There's lots more. Here's the rover. Lots of footprints. Lots of footprints, but no tire tracks.
In one photo. What if in that particular photo they'd only just put the buggy together and they hadn't used it yet?
It's called fake. In this one, the white bag contains the lander. The rover, sorry. The rover's in the white bag. They haven't taken the rover, unpacked the rover yet out of the white bag, but there's already tire tracks from the rover. It's called fake.
Actually, this one is cropped from a much larger photo where the buggy is clearly visible.
This one, the moon, that's blue and white. That's supposed to be the Earth in the picture. Well, they say the Earth is 4 times larger than the moon. They should have made the Earth 4 times larger, maybe 5. It's too small.
Is it though? The size of any object in the sky is down to the camera and lens used. Ask the astronauts that saw it with their own eyes, then they'll be able to tell you.
When they made the fake picture, they should have made the Earth 4 times bigger, maybe 5 times bigger. This one, 2 guys, Apollo 15, took each other's pictures. But this guy, the little box on his chest, that's the camera.
Oh.
How'd they take this pretty picture
right.
without the
It's
camera?
right there,
That's the camera. How'd they take this nice picture without the camera?
Easy. They had more than one.
Do you want to talk about...
But you know why they faked it?
Yeah.
Had to beat the Russians, right? Space race.
Because of
But
Sputnik, right?
there's another reason.
Yeah.
Moon landing was a distraction like a magician. Look at this hand, not the other hand. What was NASA doing in the other hand? They were giving us the first pictures of this. And they lied about that
it's
too.
Really this, yeah.
It's really flat.
And there is the big reveal. Now, seeing the Earth and getting some wonderful photos of it was really just a side effect of those NASA Apollo missions.
And watch this, here's a globe. Boat on top of the globe, boat at the equator, boat on the bottom. And the birds are flying upside down. Not.
Oh, my days. This guy is in deep.
Because it's flat. The boats are not upside down or sideways because the water's flat. The kangaroos are not upside down in Australia because the earth is flat. The ball is called propaganda. It's even shaped like BS.
Propaganda for what? Really?
And you think it was directed by this guy?
The move, yeah,
Yes.
Stanley Kubrick was the best guy in Hollywood. NASA got the best guy in Hollywood to help him fake it.
And does this have something to do with the elites?
Yes.
Yeah.
The deep state Illuminati, they're the evil people that run NASA,
Yeah.
control NASA.
Yeah. And you said earlier the reason why they sent Musk and the reason why they sent Bezos up is because they're part of this elitist movement, right?
I don't think NASA sent either of those two up. They did that on their own.
Why'd they pick two clowns to go
Yes,
to
exactly.
Why'd they pick two clowns to go to space? Elon Musk the clown and Jeff Bezos the clown. Because it's a clown show.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
And you think there's like a dome,
Blue Dome.
blue dome, yeah.
Like the True Man show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they called him True Man, not Smith.
Yeah.
Every once in a while they put some truth in the movies. He had a flat earth with a blue dome just like ours.
Yeah. So hypothetically, if you were able to just keep going up, you'd eventually hit the dome and fall back down. Okay.
Well, you'd crash. They
Yeah.
crashed a few planes before they figure out not a good idea.
Yeah. Oh. So.
They crashed a few planes into it. Any evidence for this? Any reports from people seeing planes crash into blue domes? As I said, in deep. Moving on, the next video comes from Nathan Oakley again. Now, he was only just on Tinfoil Tuesday. This time, he thinks that the blood moon proves a flat earth. Interesting.
I see plenty of flat shadows. They very rarely have three-dimensionality to them, actually.
Well, usually shadows are flat because it's a shadow on a flat surface.
In fact, it is a segment of a arc of a circle, no matter the orientation of the moon and the sun.
Orientation and your presupposed falling around a sphere Earth, that isn't what the case is, though. You've just begged the question of all of that. You've not validated any of it, and the assumptions required have all been debunked by us. Again, please share the show.
They haven't been debunked by you though, Nathan. Waffling about natural laws and presuppositions is not debunking. It's wordplay at best and intellectual dishonesty at worst.
And the only thing that makes a perfectly circular shadow
Be something that's perfectly circular.
perfectly spherical.
Spherical.
Yeah.
What about going red? What does that? Is that a shadow when it goes red?
Yes and no. The shadow slowly moves across the face of the moon until the moon moves into the umbra. Here, the Earth's atmosphere bends the red and orange light, which isn't as subject to Rayleigh scattering as the blues and violets, and it lights up the face of the moon.
You haven't explained what I observed. I'm just a mere man looking at a moon turning red and going, what the hell is that?
Well, I've just explained it, so hopefully you'll be satisfied now.
Meaning everything about it. What is the moon? What's it doing? Why is it in the sky? Why is it turning red? Why did it go extremely cold when it turned red? None of those things describe shadows to me.
Why did it go extremely cold when it turned red? What did, the moon or the air around you? Neither is true, by the way.
Like none of them.
So the only thing that makes a perfect circle shadow every single time
Not a shadow. You've assumed it's a shadow.
is a perfect sphere.
Right.
Okay?
So what is it then, Nathan? What is causing that circular type area on the face of the moon, if not a shadow?
What, if it's occulting it? The light from the sun, that is?
It would be an occultation if you were viewing the moon go behind the Earth from another planet. Yes.
So if we're a sphere and we're between the moon and the sun, definitely not. The Selenian eclipse would demonstrate that there's nothing that could be described as Earth as a sphere between those two celestial items.
But a Selenian eclipse is subject to heavy refraction. What about a normal solar eclipse? You bring up the Selenian but ignore every other eclipse. Nice.
You can't describe them that way when they're both above the horizon. What's occulting what? Nothing, basically. So what do you guys call that? The impossible eclipse? No, very much a possibility when we're watching it happen. It's just impossible in your stupid model. Because you've got it occulting and causing shadows. Whereas when it starts turning red and the sun's still there, obviously it's not an occultation that's causing it to turn red. I mean, cause a shadow as you assume it. None of that's true. None of it represents anything that I've observed in this regard.
That's funny because to us normal people and every single amateur astronomer in the world, it is exactly what we observe.
Disk, it would only make a perfect circle if you lined it that way.
Right.
In a straw man heliocentric orbital motion that needed a flat Earth elevation angle measurement to derive in the first instance, and then reinserted into that heliocentric model after measuring the flat Earth elevation angle measurements from a flat plane and converting it from the celestial sphere model with its equatorial flat plane by way of Haversine into your globe to further advance your R value into a Venus with an R value that's assumed, and then Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion with a flat disk inserted thereafter. Utter horse.
Utter word salad, more like. Copious amounts of word salad. Let's move on to the next video, which comes from Flat Earth Fail compilation legend himself, Level Earth Observer, and he is discussing Artemis 1. Of course he is.
So I didn't get cited one single scientific demonstration like I asked for from Globe Believers. Not one. What I did get sent was this. Supposed historical footage from NASA showing an Earthrise from the dark side of the moon, filmed by the Orion spacecraft. Putting aside the fact it looks absolutely ridiculous. Putting aside the fact they show the Earth to be a ball, which of course we know scientifically impossible. And let's also put aside the fact they chuck in some piano here, again hoping that might soften you up to believe this nonsense. Putting all that aside, we still see an obvious problem.
Come on then, Elio, what is this obvious problem?
See if you can spot it.
What's the problem here? Looks awesome.
So we've got this globe Earth just risen up behind the dark side of the moon, alright? Just bring it back a smidge. You can see the supposed dark side of the moon there blocking this lit up globe Earth, which when we bring it out, pretty much the side facing us near enough looks totally lit up. Which is a bit of a problem.
Here comes Level Earth Observer, the light physics expert.
Because we've got the sun supposedly 93 million miles away, judging by the shadows on the craft behind us to our left. We've got the moon in front of the spacecraft, which of course is filming this silly charade. And then we've got the globe Earth fully lit up behind the dark moon. You see the obvious problem here?
No, you can see a fully lit moon from the dark side of the Earth, so why can't that happen the other way round?
The moon, the dark side of the moon, in relation to where the sun is, in relation to this spacecraft supposedly filming this, the dark side of the moon would be fully lit up. It's not. Are they that dumb at NASA and their special effects team, if you can call it that they didn't work out the dark side of the moon is reference to people on Earth, not in space, particularly from this shot.
Artemis 1 is in orbit around the moon. It can easily be in full light whilst the moon is in shadow below. We see it here on Earth as well with the ISS. You can often see it illuminated during the night time.
Because this shot, the dark side of the moon would be fully lit up, based on the shadows, based on the fact the Earth facing us is pretty much fully lit, which means we're facing the so-called globe Earth, which means the sun's sort of behind us to our left somewhere, based on the shadows.
It literally says it right there. Orion is 57,000 miles away. More than enough distance to be illuminated by the sun, whilst the moon is dark below. He's not even reading the video he's trying to debunk. Dear oh dear. Right, our final Flat Earth fail video comes from Carl Adams, who is a bit confused it seems.
As the temperature drops and the snow falls, just remember, NASA claims that the Earth is 3,110,000 miles closer to the Sun in the middle of January than it is in July. That means we would be over 392 globe Earths farther away from the Sun in the summer than we are in the winter. And yes, NASA actually claims this. If you want to look it up and check it out for yourself, the terms to look up are perihelion and aphelion. And look at that. NASA even goes so far as to say that the distance from the Sun doesn't determine the seasons. Come on guys, we can do this. Stand up and speak up. It is time to abolish NASA. This message has been brought to you by the Flat Earth Institute of Science, with a special thank you to the Potter's Clay for bringing this to my attention.
What's the issue here? The distance to the Sun isn't the cause of the seasons. In fact, it's summer in Australia right now. It's winter here in the Northern Hemisphere, yes, but it's summer down in the Southern Hemisphere. That change in the distance to the Sun doesn't really matter, does it? Total nonsense, Kyle. Dear oh dear. Right, well, there we go. Another Flat Earth Fail compilation, all wrapped up, all done and dusted. Thank you so much for watching. It truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed that, there is a massive playlist of Flat Earth Fail compilations for you to go and look at, 1 to 42, plus this one. Please do go check them out. Number 1 and 2 are still my personal faves. If you really enjoyed it today though, please do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really enjoyed it, hit that like button too. Just enough time to once again thank Bespoke Post for sponsoring today. Remember, click the link in the description and use my code SIMAN20 to get 20% off your first box, or visit bespokepost.com/SIMAN20. I have been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great weekend and I'll see you all on Tuesday for some more mud flooding. See you then.